Hey everybody, Mark Torregrossa here. Live Hub in Ann Arbor. Yeah, this is what it looks like. Hey, I get to, sometimes when we go to work at Live, we feel like Mr. Rogers. Come on in, we're gonna talk about El Nino here, figure everything out. Hundreds of people here at Live. These are some of the fine folks. Chris waves high, Scott Levin. Actually love this guy because he's real techie and he helps me with a lot of the weather graphics. So when you see new innovative stuff, right there, give that man a 5% raise. Live.
Yeah.
Oh, and even over here, like,
hold on 1 second there, Mark. We're gonna.
Those are the big wigs, and they're having a big important meeting right there. Probably, I don't know, some sort of innovation.
5% raise for Scott.
Yes, that's what they're working on, is a 5% raise for Scott Levin. There we go. All right, but we're going to talk about El Nino today, okay? I know we've talked about it, you've heard it. If you have not heard about El Nino, if you have not heard that word El Nino in the last week or two, you've been living under a rock. Let's just be honest, and all of a sudden, pretty soon, it's going to seem like everything is blamed on El Nino. So I thought we better back up a little bit and tell you exactly what El Nino is, okay? Magic marker here. All right, first off, where did it get its name? El Nino. Okay? The El Nino means the boy. El is capitalized, Nino is capitalized, meaning the boy, the Christ child. Why? Because the warm water on El Ninos, in the El Nino effect, I'll talk about that in a minute, shows up on the coast of South America a lot of times around Christmas time, and in those places where on the South American coast, they get very little rain most years, 1 or 2 inches the whole year. It's a desert. When El Nino shows up with the warm waters, it starts to rain, 10, 15 inches in the wintertime. They can grow a great crop the whole year, feed everybody. So they gave it the name El Nino, a rain gift from the Christ child. So El Nino isn't something that's been just invented in the last 10 or 20 years. It's been around for hundreds of years. All right. So let's take a look at actually what it is. This is the El Nino region. I'm going to, hopefully I have another tab here. No, I messed it up for you. There we go. Okay, you may or may not be able to see this. It's not looking good to me. This is Mexico. This is South America. Over here is Australia. So this is the El Nino region along the equatorial Pacific. And we divide it into 4 regions. El Nino region 1 and 2 are this smaller region off the coast of South America. El Nino region 3, El Nino region 4. And what's most important for the Climate Prediction Center to equate El Ninos is this region 3.4, which is kind of a combination of the two. So everything we're looking at is how strong is the El Nino in region 3.4. And what do we mean by strength? It's sea surface temperature anomaly. I know those are big words, but basically how much warmer than normal is the ocean, or how much colder than normal is the ocean. So look at this. This is Niño region 4. You know what that is. That's a pretty big region. Niño region 3. Here's the Niño region, most important, 3.4, 3 and 4. And this is the amount of temperature above normal from the normal temperature. We're starting in November of last year, January, February, March. Look at the water temperatures warming to now in the 3.4 region. It's saying 2.4 degrees above normal, 2.4 degrees Celsius above normal. So you can see how the El Nino has been developing. All right, so we take a look at that, and let's look at some other things here. That's the temperature, but we also give it a Oh, we give it an index. And that's the main way that the Climate Prediction Center compares this year's El Nino to El Ninos in the past. And you've probably heard this is the strongest El Nino ever, or might be the strongest El Nino ever. All right, so they give it an index. It's called ONI. Right now, the ONI for July, August, and September is 1.5. Okay, just remember that number, 1.5 degrees Celsius above normal. And it's kind of a lagging feature. I just showed you 2.4. That's because El Nino is warming up. But right now it's rated as a 1.5. I want to show you another graph here. Okay, now this is how we're going to compare. Right here, you see the 1.5? Let's go back to 97. At the same time, it was 1.7. So 97, it was 0.2 degrees Celsius warmer than it is right now. Then it went to 2, 2.2, 2.3, 2.3. Hey, any questions yet, Dan?
Yeah, no questions yet. Anyone have any questions out there for Mark?
No questions?
No questions. We have a whole bunch of El Nino experts out there.
Really? What are they saying?
They all know this information already because I haven't heard anything. Any hearts, anything? Anyone liking anything? I've seen a couple hearts come up, but...
Maybe we all know about El Nino now. Anyways, here's the 1.5. 97, it was 1.7, and still warming, and we are still warming, so we don't know. It could potentially become the strongest El Nino in modern times if we warm more than that 2.3. Let's go back to 82, 83. At this time, it was 1.0, going to 1.5, 1.9, 2.1, 2.1. Here's the other strong one back in the early 70s, 72, 73. So you can see that we're definitely on pace. Now, who cares about El Nino and how strong it will get? Almost all of the government agencies and the weather forecasting agencies around the globe, because even though here in the United States we get floods, rain in California, storminess in the south, warm and dry in the Great Lakes in the northeast, other parts of the globe are getting ready for big drought because of El Nino. Other parts of the globe are getting ready for big floods too. So I want to show you actually the forecast.
Looks like you answered someone's question there.
Okay.
So
what was the question?
It was what's the impact, I guess the bottom line of it. So
okay, I'll show that. Well, yeah,
as well as some compliments on being a great teacher. So
all right,
well done.
Let's go to what are the impacts in the U.S. Remember, you can always find me on mlive.com/weather. Here's a post I wrote this week about the NOAA winter forecast. It's out, and it's right out of the El Nino playbook. Excuse me. Warmer than normal weather usually in the northern part of the country, colder than normal weather in the southern part of the country, and I'll scroll down and I'll show you the precipitation impacts. In the U.S., wet and stormy along the south, drier in the Great Lakes, drier in the northeast. I don't know how that looks on this monitor.
It's a little dark, but you can kind of see the red in there a little bit. Let's see if I can stand in front and get a better look at. We got Michigan very much in the red there.
Okay. So those are the local U.S. impacts. But like I said, it does things all over the globe. Other places get drought. Other places get wet weather. So all of these entities are trying to forecast what the El Nino does. NCEP is from the U.S., NASA, Scripps, European Weather Center, basically the European Weather Service, the United Kingdom Weather Service, Australia, Japan should be in here, Japan Meteorological Organization, Meteorological France. All of these want to know what the El Nino is going to do, and so everybody is running a computer model, and that's all of these solutions you see right here. But the average, or the accepted forecast, is this dark yellow line. And I don't know if you can see it, but here we are right now. And so what the forecast is we get out into November, December, January, it's expected to top out around 2.5 degrees Celsius, which would make it the strongest one we've had. And that's why you're hearing talk of this could be the strongest ever. And then another interesting point is look at that cool down as we go into May, June, July, August. June, July, August. That could have a big agricultural impact because I found that that's where the middle of the U.S. dries out when you go from El Nino to La Nina. But we'll worry about that later on.
So there's a potential that the impact of the storms and stuff that would happen and kind of hurt the crops up in the Leelanau Peninsula and the wineries and stuff could be amplified again next summer?
Well, it's more of a dry out of the whole growing part of the middle of the country.
Okay.
So it's not a storminess, it's a lack of rainfall that comes in and something like that. So we got the El Nino, the boy, the Christ child, bringing beneficial rain to South America, usually around Christmas time, which is another important point, okay? The effects of El Nino here in the U.S. usually don't show up, we figure, until sometime in December. So if we get bizarre weather next week, it's probably not related to El Nino. If we get a snowstorm in November, don't say, I thought we were going to be super warm. What's all this snow? The effects kick in toward as we go into the latter part of December. So that's when you'll know if El Nino is really going to be a dominant player in our weather, because you'll say, it should be getting colder here, and it just seems to be staying fairly mild. That's a key that super strong El Nino is really taking hold. So we'll keep an eye on it. Right now, all we know is what it normally does in winter, and it's a long-range forecast. Anybody else got any questions for me here?
No questions here so far, so.
Okay. Well, if you got a suggestion for a periscope, I like this format because we can talk about a lot of stuff. Shoot it to me, tweet it to me, or Facebook, or email me, or comment in MLive. And make sure you definitely check out mlive.com/weather. I'll try to keep you updated on all this crazy weather we have now.